Buddy, and Happy New Year. We are back again with the astrology messages for the week of December 30th, which of course takes us through New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And to kick it off, we have a new moon in Capricorn. And of course, if you follow me because you've been clicking on that subscribe button below, you already know about the new moon in Capricorn because I've been talking about it, because you read my monthly horoscope predictions as well. And if not, you want to go out to MarileeBurnett.com as well. Sign up, and that way you get the content that I create automatically because I email that at you before the new months begin, before the new moon, before the full moon, and any other special content that I create, like the 2025 forecast that's out there now, which is an hour-long session that I created for a small group that joined me live. But you can take advantage of that by going on my website or to my YouTube channel and take a look, because I'm telling you, everything is changing in 2025, and you will want to be prepared to see where these changes are happening in your own natal chart. All right, with that, we will get kicked off. Of course, I use my Astro Gold software here, and I use that in my sessions as well. And if you would want to go through this new moon in Capricorn, well, you'd have to book a session that will happen after the new moon, but it still would be applicable. So consider that. And of course, the special offers that I have for new moons, solar eclipses, lunar eclipses, all of those can be found on my website and under the special offers there at MarileeBurnett.com as well. We'll get started with Monday, which means we will also do a breakdown, a little mini one for every sign about what to expect with this new moon in Capricorn. And there's like an interesting special delivery on the way for everyone on Monday, December 30th. So we're going to break that down as well. So with that, rubs hands, gets ready, pushes up the sleeves, because this is Capricorn energy. So we got to get to work. And that is where this new moon is happening on Monday, the 30th. So at 3:30-ish in the afternoon Mountain Standard Time is where the sun and the moon come direct together, conjunct at 9 degrees of the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn rules the 10th house. It is the highest place of achievement that we can reach in our chart. And that's often associated with our reputation, with our status. And that can sometimes be a marriage. It can definitely be, of course, our career and anything that we do if we are in service to others, right? What are we most known for? That's what we see in that 10th house, that Capricorn energy. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So it can be a little cold and a little stark. It's no wonder Capricorn season is aligned with winter, at least here in the northern hemisphere. Saturn wants discipline. It wants structure. It gives you the plan. So this is a perfect time to ask for guidance in what it is that you need to do based on the house that you have this Capricorn new beginning happening for you. And Saturn will give you the answers. It will show you the way. Will give you the plan. Of course, if you don't follow that plan, then Saturn is very much a disciplinarian, and you don't want to get on Saturn's bad side. But when you do the work, the hard work is rewarded. That is one of the benefits of working hard, pushing through, not giving up, is the reward is worth it. And Capricorn, of course, an earth sign, is also associated with finance. It's capitalism, right? It's Capricorn. It is government. So we have a new beginning as a collective that could bring changes in government structures. That's one big possibility. And even in local government. So again, it's going to depend on where this is happening in your chart. It could bring in new businesses to life, new structures, new infrastructures, all possibilities. And it could highlight somebody older, right? Because Saturn is older energy. It's also time, it's karmic. So we have some very heavy, big energy where our new intentions help set us up for all the changes and shifts that are coming in 2025 as well. So again, the moon is a blank slate. Emotionally, we are clear and ready to restart. This is whatever touches the sun, right, is reborn within the flame and the fire of the sun. And so the moon represents our emotional self, our intuition. It can represent women and motherhood, right? Caring and nurturing for others and ourselves. So one of those or many of those topics might apply to you in this new beginning that you want and hope to achieve. Now, at the time of this new moon, you can see a lot of other energies that are interacting with one another. The most important one, whenever we're talking about a new moon, is what's happening with the new moon ruler. So we have Saturn, of course, as I mentioned, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. And it is sitting here in Pisces. It's finally moving forward. And it has been squaring here to Jupiter. So this is some of the difficulty that we saw and experienced over the Christmas week, was these two leaders that want to be in charge, but they have conflicting values and conflicting ideas. And there's poor boundaries between these two leaders. And so they're having conflict. And we are seeing that here in the US. And you may be seeing that in your own life as well. But the conflict is meant to slow us down so that we can really take a look at what we're doing and why, and maybe making a change in direction. So knowing that Saturn is still squaring Jupiter, whatever change in direction you make, it is one that invites this new beginning. This is energy that we would consider a sextile. It's a bit wide. We're talking about a 5-degree orb, but Saturn has the rings. So Saturn's influence can really be felt even up to 10 degrees. But of course, the closer it is, the stronger the influence. But there is still this subtlety, this mysticism with the energy of Pisces, this spiritual outlet and effect going on, this influence of dreams that you want to pay attention to around the days leading up and after this new moon. Pay attention, journal your dreams. You may very well hear something that will help you and give you the plan that you need to create this new beginning in your life at this time. So that is the setup of the energy that's directly impacting and influencing this new moon. And then you'll notice that we have this, what looks like an envelope, right? And it even has the cross, right? Truly like an envelope would look. So we call this a mystic rectangle because it literally looks like a rectangle. And it is created by 2 sextiles and 2 trines. And then we have these 2 oppositions that are going on as well. Now, you've got Pluto in an opposition to Mars. Now, these 2 met earlier in this year, but when they met, they were in 2 different signs. Pluto was still at the very end of Capricorn, and Mars was at the very end of Cancer. So they're still in this power struggle. Both of these planets speak to power. Mars is power that we see active in our day-to-day life. This is a personal planet. Pluto is power that's beneath the surface. And the power at this time is to the people, while Mars is a powerful leader, right? So they are in conflict with one another. So this is a pressure point, requires balance, right? The needs of the people need to be honored by the leader. And what the leader is trying to direct the people to do also needs to be honored. They have to meet in the middle in order for this conflict to be resolved. Fate is a part of this event because we have the North Node which is speaking in harmony almost exactly now with Pluto. Pluto, of course, moves forward while the nodes move backwards. So it's the North Node and the South Node that are now almost done with the whole year and a half journey that they have been on with us, teaching us the lessons about Aries energy of independence, self-confidence, choosing what's best for us, and the South Node in Libra, where we have seen many a divorce, many a relationship end, many a legal battle that has been exposed and brought to the surface, right? The South Node is what we let go of. And what we're letting go of are relationships and situations where the boundaries are not healthy, right? Where we've been codependent. Our goal is to create interdependent relationships where what somebody else does doesn't have an effect on me, right? They are allowed to live their own life, make their own choices, and those choices don't affect me. I don't have to have control over somebody else and their choices in order to feel good and safe in the relationship. If you can't do that, you're in a codependent relationship. You're trying to take care of your partner, and that never works because you're not their mom. You're not their dad, right? You cannot only feel safe in a relationship if your partner is only doing what you tell them to do in the way that you want them to do it. So we've been learning that lesson over the last year and a half. And there's something about these lessons that works with Pluto and it works with Mars. So there's some power, some hidden power. And then there's some action that we need to take in order to complete the work. Now, these will officially hit and complete on January 11th and then change signs. So we're seeing between now, the new moon energy, which takes 2 weeks, to then become the full moon energy, the completion of this work, and then the transition into the new axis of Virgo and Pisces. And so if you want to know more about that, go watch my video where I break that down in more detail. A lot is changing, and the transition of the nodes is the beginning of the changes in 2025. And what we'll be seeing is this handoff that will happen as the North Node moves out of Aries and into Pisces. So the lessons that we've been learning, it's just what the North Node is. It's our destined path. We have to do the work to get on that path. And now we'll see the energy of Neptune later in the year start to transition into Aries. So there's a lot of collaboration amongst the planets about these lessons that we need to learn. And so we may see something about that work that's coming up for 2025 in the information that's brought to the surface, that information that comes to us, because this is mail, right? This looks like a letter that could be contained within this envelope that has an important message for us. And I believe that message is about the work that you need to do in 2025. Now, we also see supporting energy between Mercury in Sagittarius, which is finishing its retrograde. It's moving forward. It is almost complete with its post-shadow coverage. And as it does so, it speaks again in harmony with Chiron, which is also moving forward. So again, this is information about a wound. This is information about a childhood wound. This is information that can help us heal a personal wound, right? Because Aries is the person, right? This is the first house energy. This is the self, and Chiron are the wounds that we carry related to ourself and our self-confidence specifically. And Mercury's information, right? And information in the sign of Sagittarius is a big deal, right? It's PhD level information that comes to us, right? So there's something that we're meant to take advantage of and learn. Maybe we have to change our mind about something in particular because of the opposition energy, because of this square. In order to begin again, we have to do something different with the information that surfaces for us at the end of this year. And of course, you want to set new moon intentions on this day that are in alignment with the house and the sign and the element of this new moon energy, which is earth. So I recommend that you do something earthbound as you create your 10 new moon wishes. Now you can stand barefoot in the dirt, but if it's too cold where you're at, you can also write out these and you can sprinkle dirt in them, or you can bury them in something like a plant indoors if you need soft ground and you're not around soft ground, or you can plant it anywhere outside, right? New moon intentions are new moon, right? Seeds of intention that you want to plant, and you want them connected to the earth so that they can take root and then sprout and grow. Okay, so what else is it that you want to focus on? Well, that depends on where this new moon is happening. So this person, Gemini rising, would have the new moon in the 8th house. This number 8 on the inside shows the house. And you'd know that because this sign here, this rising sign, is created based on your birth time. But for our purposes, I just consider 0 degrees to be the first house for your sign, and it's more of a generalized forecast and prediction for you. But it'll be more accurate, of course, if you know your chart and know specifically the house that this may be happening in for you. So let's kick it off with Aries. So Aries, this Capricorn energy for you would be in your 10th house because, of course, Capricorn is the 10th sign and you are the first. So this is a new beginning that involves your career. It's your status. It's your reputation. It's all those things that I mentioned at the beginning. So this is the time to set intentions for the career that you want in 2025 and commit to doing the work to see the success that you want from any new career change that you create for yourself in 2025. Then we move into Taurus. So Taurus, this energy for you will happen in your 9th house. And the 9th house is about higher education. It can be about foreign countries, foreign places, foreign people. It could be about getting your degree, right? And so you want to set intentions that will help you grow and expand into a higher purpose at the time of this new moon. Then we move on to the sign of Gemini. And for you, Gemini, this will happen in, as I mentioned, your 8th house. The 8th house is that of transformation. It is death. It is rebirth. It is relationships of an intimate quality, right? Because this is the house that rules sexuality. It's also money and power that comes to us from other resources. We don't create those resources directly ourselves, but sometimes they come to us through things like an inheritance. They could come to us through our partner, right? So money and power that we have access to because of a relationship, but not something that we generate ourselves. But it creates a big change. So if you're wanting big change, Gemini, now's the time to set those types of intentions. Then we have Cancers. So you Cancers here, this will happen for you Cancer in your 7th house. So the 7th house Cancers is all about our serious relationships, our business partnerships, our marriages, our commitments, our contracts. So a new one, an important one, maybe a business related one, is starting at this time. And if it doesn't, this is the time to set the intentions for it to start at this time, for this long-standing contract and commitment, because Capricorn is just that. It is something that will last a lifetime. So commitments that you make at this time, Cancer, you want to make sure they're the right ones because they're going to go the long haul. Because one of the things that Saturn rules is time, and it's a long time in coming. All right. You may be hearing my little Christmas clock going in the background as well. So maybe there's something about Christmas and this commitment that has already planted a seed for you, Cancers. All right. Next, we have Leo. And Leos, you are seeing this new beginning in your 6th house. So it's something related to your day-to-day experience. But again, because of the Capricorn energy, it's often related to the work that you do. So this again for you is a time to start something new. It doesn't have to be a new job at a new company, but it could be a new job within the company that you're already a part of. If you're not looking for a dramatic change, could be new responsibilities. And then of course, this is a house that also rules your health. It can be things where you're being of service to other people. It even has to do with your pets. All kinds of things that you do on a day-to-day basis show up in this 6th house. And so now's the time to set intentions to have your day-to-day life look the way you want it to look going forward into 2025. All right. And then we have Virgos, another earth sign. And Virgos, that new moon beginning for you is in your 5th house. That's related to your children. It's related to your heart, to passion. It can be related to romance. You could be looking to start something new as far as a romance goes, but it also could be starting something new as far as your hobby is concerned. Maybe you're looking to turn your hobby into a money-making endeavor, and that would be the perfect time to start something new like that and then explore it over the year ahead and see how passionate you become about it, because that's what the 5th house is all about. The things that we're passionate about, which of course also has to do with our children. Maybe you're going to go into business with one of your children, for example. All right. Next, we have Libras. So Libra, this for you happens in your 4th house of home and family. So this is a time for a new beginning. That can be a new home. It can be remodeling your home if you don't want a new home, right? But you want to invest in your home because that's Capricorn. Make an investment in your home if you're going to stay in it. Maybe you're going to refinance your home, right? Maybe you're going to start working from home. Again, that's a Capricorn thing. So there could be a new financial endeavor that's tied to your home. Maybe you're going to do something with your home equity as far as starting a business. Just be really careful with doing that because, again, as I mentioned, everything's changing in 2025. And if you're going to do something like that before you take a risk, meet with an astrologer. Make sure it's the right thing to do. All right. Next, we have Scorpios. And Scorpios, for you, this new beginning happens in your 3rd house. 3rd house is communication, transportation. It can be education. It's anything to do with Mercury type of energy, which can do with movement within your local community, becoming a teacher in your local community. All of those are definite possibilities. And because we're talking about Capricorn energy, there is potential for taking a government position that's small and local potentially. Maybe you're going to be on the board of something that combines your power and government and structure within your local community. All right. Next, we have Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, for you, this happens in your 2nd house. So this is a new opportunity that involves money and finances. It could have to do with a job with older people, for instance, because of the Saturn energy, which rules old age. And that could, again, give you something where you're working with maybe a senior living facility, you're working with older people that need care. And there could be, again, something that provides you income that's a change for doing that kind of work. All right. Next, we have, of course, Capricorns. And this is your new moon. And so those of you that are born within this first decan, 0 to 10 degrees, you're going to feel this more than other Capricorns. But of course, all Capricorns will feel this because it's a new moon in your sign with your planetary ruler Saturn. So this is a time to reinvent yourself. Like this time you will be more successful setting your new year and new moon intentions because it's happening right along with the energy of the new moon and the new year and in your first house. Go for it. And it's the energy of the number 9, which brings completion. So all of us have that, but you Capricorns, because it's directly related to you specifically in your first house, especially you born around this 9 degrees, take advantage of this big change to be disciplined with yourself. Maybe you want to be disciplined with your body and working out more in the year ahead. This would be a really good time to work on your self-image. All right. Then we have Aquarius. And Aquarius, for you, this is happening in your 12th house. So 12th house are things that are hidden beneath the surface. And it's a really good time because of the discipline that comes with that Capricorn energy to work on that subconscious mind and to become aware of the patterns of thinking that have kept you stuck and trapped and not being able to feel like yourself. Because, right, Aquarius, you want to be unique and eclectic. And if you worry about what other people think all the time, you can't allow yourself to just be yourself. So you can work on that. There's also opportunities, of course, because 12th house is large institutions as well. So there could be a new beginning for you that involves a large institution. Could be a hospital, things to do with prison. As I mentioned, military in the past, right? Those are all large institutions and especially large government institutions. All are possibilities as far as new beginnings go for you. And then last but not least, we have this Pisces energy. And Pisces, your new beginning happens in your 11th house of friend groups, networking groups, the internet. So you could do business over the internet and set those kinds of intentions as a result of this new beginning with the help of Saturn. It could also help bring in a mentor, especially an older mentor, to help you get connected to others and be a success as a result of that as well. Now, for all of you, you want to go watch my tarot card that I pulled for every sign as well, because you'll get a little bit more detail in there. Combine that card with this new beginning and start to understand how it's all going to unfold for you. All right. So that is Monday. We still have the rest of the week to go. So let's dive on into Tuesday, which is, of course, New Year's Eve. Gosh, I cannot personally believe that it's the end of 2024. So I want you to really spend some time on New Year's Eve, reflecting on the year, what's gone by. Me, I spent a lot of the year with my oldest daughter who got married. And so that seemed like that was the whole focus of the year, was all that we were doing, about the wedding. And it was great, right? To be able to have all that time. And now it's 2025 and there's not the same priorities. And you have to stop and go, okay, so much of my year is not controlled going into 2025 by other things. So what am I going to fill that space with? Just an example, right, of how you can think about what you did, what you accomplished, what you were focused on in 2024, and what you want to be focused on going forward now into 2025. And of course, you're going to want to watch my video where I talk about it. And you might want to download the workbook that I've created so that you can look at where all these shifts and changes are going to be happening. So more information, right, comes up for us on Tuesday. We're now getting even more tension as Mars and Pluto keep getting tighter and tighter in their conflict. We're still seeing Mercury and Chiron combine to give us the information we need to heal. We're still seeing the square. So there's not a lot of movement and changes, but we also see the moon move farther, of course, ahead in the sign of Capricorn after yesterday's new moon in Capricorn. And it speaks in harmony with Uranus. So there can be a surprise element, something that could surprise us and how we feel, something that motivates us to let go of something that holds us back. So look for some surprises on New Year's Eve that could shock you, but it should be in a good way because this is a trine. This is supportive energy, but it will be with us throughout New Year's Eve. So if you have any fun surprises, I want to hear about them. And then think about all the rituals for New Year's Eve. You may not like to go out. You may be like me and have a dog that does not appreciate the fireworks that go on at Christmas and New Year's Eve. At least they did in my neighborhood. So on New Year's Eve, if you're staying home, think about the things you can do, like opening the front door and the back door, right? Letting out the old year, letting in the new. Make sure you sage and clean everything. Do it just before midnight, right? There's all kinds of things that you can do to bring closure to 2024 and welcome in the newness of 2025. So just give that some thought because, again, like I said, you've got Mercury ruling the mind, Jupiter in Gemini. So information is really coming up in a big way, and we just want to make sure that we take advantage of that information. All right, and then boom, Happy New Year. It's crazy. 2025 is upon us and everything's changing, everything's shifting. Loose ends are being wrapped up. There will be so much closure in the year ahead because this is a 9-year in numerology. Now, the 8 year is what we ended in 2024. That was a year about power and strength. And boy, did we need a lot of strength to get through 2024. So now we get into 2025 and it's about endings, right? This is the end. This is a 9-year cycle that comes to an end. And in 2026, we're starting all over. So that's why you'll see in 2025 like a preview of 2026. You're going to see all the outer planets change signs. And then you're going to see them retrograde, several of them, right back into the signs that they were just in because the work isn't totally done yet. So this is like a transition year where we see where we want to be headed, but before we can get there, we have to finish up the work. And so we need to pay attention to specifically what shows up on January 1st in our lives, because this is a snapshot, right, of the year ahead. It's a preview of the New Year's energy, and you want to see how the day shows up. I also strongly encourage you. So this is why we say, we set New Year's resolutions and intentions on this day, and then too many of them fall by the wayside. At this time, I want you to go small. Tiniest of New Year's intentions that you can set so that they can build upon success instead of going too big and then failing. So it's like, I want to lose 100 pounds. Well, instead of starting with, I want to lose 100 pounds, start with, I want to move my body every single day for at least, and set your time. Is it 5 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? It depends on where you've been, right, in your journey. But set those goals, something that's achievable, and start small. And then do everything you can on the first to align yourselves with what you want your life to look like and feel like and be like in the whole year ahead. So if you want to eat healthy in the year ahead, you got to commit to eating healthy and not having all the chips and all the dip because of all the football games, right? Now, that doesn't mean you have to be so restrictive, but you got to make sure you include all the healthy foods and all the healthy choices. And do get out and get exercise before you go to the game, before you go to the parties. Whatever it is, whatever your intention is. If you want love, be lovable on this day. Send love to strangers. I'm not talking about saying it out loud, but as you walk by, bless people with love and light. I bless you with love and light. I bless you with love and light wherever you go. Do whatever you want to have in the year ahead. And then let me know what that is in the comments. All right. So I think that's all I want to talk about on this day, because as you're seeing, nothing else is changing. The moon is moving into the sign of Aquarius. So if you think about that moon, it represents what we need emotionally in the year ahead. And in Aquarius, I need to belong. I need to make a difference, and I need to have a lot of freedom. That's what we're going to need in the year ahead. All right. So Happy New Year. Let's move to Thursday. On Thursday, we have some interesting energy as we're going to see Jupiter, still square to Saturn, but today it's in conjunct, which is this green line, to the sun. And so there's something, again, it could be about like two big leaders that are in conflict with one another. There's some ego things going on at this time. In your own life, there is a conflict with what you think you know or what you want to pursue and the money that you want to make, right? So it's like this Jupiter energy it's more spiritual, right? It's like, I want to make a difference in the world. And then your sun, your ego self says, yeah, but that's not going to make me money. So somehow you've got to figure out how to take those ideals and those dreams and turn them into something that helps you still have financial security. But it doesn't come about in a normal way. Speaking of financial security, we also see that Venus is the last moments here of her time in the sign of Aquarius, which is a little awkward for Venus. It does make love and friendship really important, but it's very airy energy. It can be short term, but there can be ways to make money through AI, for instance. And at the 29-degree mark, there's some kind of a test. What have you learned over the last 3 weeks of Venus being in the sign of Aquarius? So we're talking about mid-December to now, right? And what has transpired since that time? There's this brief moment where you can decide what that meant for you. And then Venus is going to jump into the sign of Pisces, where she loves to be, right? Because it's romantic, it is dreamy, and love takes on a different feel. It can be very much, it's beautiful, right? It's artistic, it's creative. So it's no wonder that Venus loves this. And Venus rules beauty and art. So it really enjoys its time. So over the next 3 weeks, we have some things that we can enjoy, but I'm going to tell you now, Venus is going to retrograde in the sign of Pisces. So take whatever you uncover slowly, because you won't see the full picture until after the eclipse, I think. So we'll be talking more about that, but just a little preview about what's coming up there. And then this is the day where Mars and Pluto are going to be exact. So this can be war, conflict, fights on a collective level, right? There can be explosions. There can be things that were hidden beneath the surface that suddenly come up to the surface. So watch out in your own life for wherever these houses are that are being activated for you, that this conflict doesn't take over, right? Again, remember to take a step back and take a breath before you let whatever this is completely overwhelm you. But we may see something on the political stage, on the world stage, that is a bit painful to watch. So we'll hope for the best. Sometimes we need conflict to see the truth in a situation, and we may get that opportunity on Thursday. Okay, let us move forward to Friday. It's our first Friday in January of 2025. And it's a interesting one, of course, because now Mars has ticked on back to the 0 degree mark on its continued retrograde. And that means it is speaking in conjunct with Venus, which is also speaking in conjunct with the South Node, which means we have a yod. So a yod is a mission from God, right? It is a quest. And for any of you that have 0 degree planets, 0 to 2 degrees, 28 to 29, I like, the more exact, the better, especially when we're talking about a yod, because it's a personal mission that you are on. And that mission is about love and spirituality, right? Venus in the sign of Pisces. Money and spirituality. What do you love? And when Venus is in conjunct the South Node and Mars, who are sextile to one another, right? Because they've started the week sextile and they continue to grow in their contact. And now that contact is very strong. So there's something related to the past that is coming up, and your way through it, right, is to take action on something that you're passionate about from the past, because that's Mars retrograde in Leo, something you're passionate about from the past. Now, for some of you, especially those with the 0 degree planets, you are potentially going to see a relationship from the past come back up for you in an unexpected way, out of the blue. And the goal of the relationship may not be that it's revived. It's for you to hold healthy boundaries. Because Saturn's been in Pisces for the past 2 years, teaching us to hold healthy boundaries. So there is something about women and boundaries and water that is coming up. And we have work to do in this area. So this is, again, going to be interesting to watch too on the world stage, to see what about sex and the past and relationships in a particular woman have to show us. All right. It's a yod. We have this mission that we have to do. You can't ignore it. But it's very intriguing and interesting when it's in conjunct energy. The path forward isn't clear. But these 2 planets, technically this nodal point, and Mars, the planet of passion and aggression and sex and power and leadership and the past and our karma, are working together to help us accomplish whatever this mission with Venus in Pisces will be for each of us. So look at the house. Where do you have 0 Pisces and what's being impacted for you? So that is a big part. And then the other thing that makes the day a little weird and strange and unexpected is the planet of weird and strange and unexpected, Uranus in Taurus, ruled by Venus, is speaking with Mercury in Sagittarius. So there, again, there's something about knowledge, information, foreign countries and foreign people, and money, and maybe things that were paid for that are being exposed. I don't know, but it's a very intriguing day. So we will all get out our popcorn and see what we see. But I guarantee you it's going to be weird and it's going to be strange, and you might be really, really shocked about what it is. All right? Of course it's all right. Then we move on to Saturday, and here's where I mentioned the nodes and Mars are now speaking exactly in harmony with one another because those nodes are moving backwards. So there can be something fated that we need to act on this day in particular. And of course, this depends on where you have this. Now, of course, last year, Mars was marching forward from this 0-degree point of Leo. And at that moment, you may have seen something or felt motivated to do something, but you haven't done it yet. And you still need to do more research. Well, the nodes will bring the people, the situations, the information to you so that you know what you need to do. But keep in mind, there's no third part to this story, because as Mars moves backwards, the nodes are as Mars continues backwards, the nodes continue backwards. They won't meet again at the 0-degree point. When they meet again is when we've shifted into the Virgo and the Pisces energy. So the story ends now. Whatever it is, it's going to end now, and the ending is fated. The completion of the action that you needed to take ends now. Okay? So we have that to look forward to as we move into Saturday. And on Saturday, Saturn Day, because Saturn rules Saturday, in case you didn't know that. That's why it's so good to do all of your chores. And I tend to work on Saturday, like making these videos, working on my content, because it's a good day to be disciplined because Saturn rules Saturday. It's also a good day to play hard, right? Work hard, play hard. Whatever you do, you'll be successful doing it because of the fact that Saturn speaks in harmony with the sun in its home sign. So there could be some kind of financial success that you experience on Saturday because of the hard work and discipline that has been applied, especially wherever these two houses are that are interacting in your chart as well. All right. And as we move forward into Sunday, you will notice that the moon will be speaking in harmony with the North Node in Aries. And this is the last time the moon joins the North Node in Aries, because as of the 11th, it moves into the sign of Pisces. So there's a final lesson of some sort that happens on Sunday. And it's a lesson that involves how we feel about ourselves, how we defend our feelings, how we stand up for our feelings, and how we don't let other people bully us into not validating our feelings, right? There is something important emotionally going on this day. Moon represents women as well, so there could be something going on that's important involving a woman on this day too. So we will look forward to how that unfolds. And this also keeps alive this mystic rectangle that we've been discussing, and activates it again. So we started the week out with this. Well, now it's been growing in intensity because of the fact that Mars has gotten closer to the nodes. Then the moon's added its influence to whatever this information is as well. Of course, the conflict continues between Mars and Pluto, and of course, always between the North Node and South Node. But we may find out more information that is fated about maybe a woman and her success, secrets that come to the surface around this time. And of course, we're talking about the inauguration that's coming up in January as well. And the certification of that happens on Monday, January 6th, I believe. So here we go. And that is it for this week. So we will see next week all the same energy. There's no huge changes or differences, but we'll of course talk about it. We'll break it down next week. And we'll start to see Mars move into the sign of Cancer. So that changes things, right? We're out of the focus on Leo, leadership, and we're now into Cancer, home, family, caring, nurturing for other people, and taking action on that. And we still got a long ways to go. We're talking about February 23rd before Mars finishes its time in Cancer. back to 17 degrees before it moves forward. So we still got a lot of retrograde work to do. We'll also see Uranus get ready to come to its standstill and end its retrograde. But at this point, Mars is really the one that is making a big show of things with its retrograde energy. Of course, if you want a preview of what's going on for January and the full first week before I record next week's video, go check out my January horoscope. In it, you'll also see the new moon and the full moon articles, and you'll want to check those out. And as I mentioned, now we've got Venus in the sign of Pisces, so we're starting to explore what that means. She's got some time before she'll get to her actual retrograde energy, but then we're also going to see a Mercury retrograde with Venus. Springtime is so intriguing with love and communication and boundaries and Pisces and Aries, and oh my, lots to unpack with that. So thanks for tuning in this week. If you want to know more specifically about all the upcoming changes in the year ahead, like I said, book a session with me, or at least go download my free workbook. It's in my links in my 2025 article, and take a look. Pull up your chart and fill it in, because it literally will tell you where all the planets are moving and changing, where all the retrogrades are happening next year, where all the new moons, full moons, and those amazing eclipses, especially the one in September at 29 of Virgo. Ooh-wee. Interesting stuff coming up. It's never a dull moment in astrology. And I know everybody keeps asking me, when is it going to stop? Not. It's just not stopping. We've got to continue to march forward, and all this planet energy is going to help us do that. But again, there's stuff we have to complete this year before we can move on. But there is this little light at the end of the tunnel that's going to show us, here's what's coming. Now go back and finish this so you can get it. That's the theme of this year. All right, guys. Thank you for your time. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing and liking and commenting and continuing to work with me. I really appreciate each and every one of you, and I look forward to your continued success in 2025. Thank you so much, and we'll talk again next week. Be sure and check out your weekly tarot card messages as well. Those, along with this astro lesson, are going to give you the big picture. Thanks again for tuning in. Talk to you next week.